Okay, now this video is about a 6-year-old who shoots his teacher, right, in the classroom. Now, what I'm talking about, right, has nothing to do with the teacher and the students. This has everything to do with this guy and the way he explains. He cop-splains how police are heroes. The police that showed up to the scene after the fact. Now, listen to his cop-splaining. Listen to how he tries to make police the heroes. And then you're going to hear who the real hero is in the situation. Check it out.
Across our nation. She is very, very appreciative of the support that she's getting and continues to get. So I just want to establish with you a brief timeline. Last Friday at Rich Neck Elementary School on January the 6th, at 1:59, a call came in and advised that a teacher had been shot, and there was no other information that came forward. Officers were dispatched at 2:00 p.m. Personnel to Rich Neck Elementary. And anytime we have a situation where there is a shooter or they believe a possible active shooter, officers are going to come from all over. So there were officers from different areas there. At 2:04, 2 sheriff deputies arrived at the school and entered the classroom where this shooting took place. And we'll talk a little bit shortly here. There was not an active shooter going on throughout the school. Everything happened in one classroom. 2 sheriff deputies entered at 2:04.
Now, you heard what he said. There was no active shooter throughout the school. Everything happened in one classroom. Understand, this is a 6-year-old child that did the shooting, okay?
And about 8 to 10 seconds behind them, 2 officers entered. When they entered the room, they found a 6-year-old child that was being physically restrained by a school employee. The child became a little combative.
Now, the 6-year-old child was being restrained when the police showed up. Understand that. Everything happened in one classroom. There was no active shooter. And when the police got there, the 6-year-old child was already being restrained by school staff. Okay? All right? Are you understanding that when the police showed up, everything was over with? When the police showed up, the staff had already disarmed the child, had the child in custody. Okay? When the police showed up, the whole incident was over with. Okay? All right.
Actually struck the school employee that was restraining him, and officers then took control of him and escorted him out of the building, placed him in a police car with an officer inside and outside that vehicle.
Now,
Once that ended,
here's where this guy starts cop-splaining the heroes, the police. He starts trying to make you believe that the police are heroes. I mean, everything's over with. They got the child in the car. There's no more shooting going on or anything. It's over with. They have the child in the car. So everything is over with. There was no active shooter. Okay, you heard what he said. It's not like he did not say everything out of his own mouth. The incident is over with. The police have the child. Only thing they have to do is pick up the gun, right, and talk to the children who were in there, if they can get. Matter of fact, they could just talk to the teacher because she's still alive and she's being taken care of by the medical staff in the school. So they don't even have to talk to the children. They have the 6-year-old in the car, retrieve the gun, talk to the teacher because she's the witness, she's an adult, and leave. It's over with. Okay? It's over. Everything is done. So they can just leave. But listen.
Occurred, there was a systematic evacuation of rooms and hallways for safety. So we still weren't sure exactly what all we had at that point. On the timeline, I want to go back and talk about the other response. As we said, at 2:04, deputies and officers responded. At 2:06, medics arrived at the school. At 2:07, the medics were cleared by officers to enter the building, that room was safe where we had someone had been injured. At 2:09, they made contact with Abigail. And at 2:11, she was transported to a local hospital where she's currently undergoing treatment. And again, if I didn't state earlier, she is still listed in stable condition.
Now, you heard it. They talked to the teacher. She's in stable condition. Okay. All right.
And I had a good conversation with her today. We talked a little bit about when the officers arrived. The young man was taken into custody and escorted out of the building. And officers responded then and began to put a plan together quickly to evacuate the hallways, the classrooms in a systematic order. But remember, we're dealing with elementary kids, right? And I will tell you, I was touched by the way that those officers interacted with those kids as they moved them from the hallway to the gymnasium. The faculty and staff there, and I'm not just talking about teachers. It was heroic, the way I saw them take care of those young people. Officers and faculty members took the students into the gymnasium. That's where they would stay until they were reunited with their family. The individuals that were in the classroom were taken to the library, where they were held there, kept there with detectives, a couple of teachers, and eventually some school counselors. When they arrived, we escorted them safely to that area as we continued to clear the building so that they could be, the professionals could be with our young people, with students. We talked about detectives and counselors that were escorted there to make sure that we had.
You see, do you see how he is acting like he's so emotional? Everything is over with, right? They got the child. They talked to the teacher. There's nothing else going on, right? But now he's telling you, after everything over with, how heroic the police were. He's getting so emotional about how the police interacted with the children. Oh my God. It's their job. You know, he's acting like it's not their job. You know, that's what they get paid for. You know, when incidents like this happen, and they come on national TV acting like, you know, they are the ones that are, you know, in keeping people safe and doing heroic things, and you know, this is what they have control over the TV. So they can practice their First Amendment right to lie, to deceive, to program you, mentally program you into believing what they want. You know the truth, but you want to believe that these people are so good, and they spew their cop-splaining. They spew their BS all the time, like him. Oh, they were such heroes. And acting like he's so emotional about how the police interacted with the children. Oh my God. It's disgusting.
Professionals with the individuals that have been in that room. Once the building was safe, forensics entered the classroom and processed the crime scene. I want to share with you what we recovered there. One spent shell casing, a backpack, a cell phone, and a 9mm Taurus firearm was recovered. The firearm was recovered close to the student's desk where the shooting occurred. Mrs. Zwerner was providing class instruction. The 6-year-old child displayed a firearm, pointed it at her, and fired one round. There was no physical struggle or fight. She was providing instruction to her class. There was one round fired. Abigail took a defensive position, and what I'm sharing with you is because she has allowed me to share it. She took a defensive position where she raised her hand. The round went through her hand, exited the rear of her hand, and into her upper chest. And that's as far as I'm going to go with that. I'm not a physician, and the complications there, but that was the injury. She leaned back and took that.
Now understand, this woman got shot in her hand, and the bullet went through her hand and into her upper chest, okay? Understand, she's wounded. She's not dead, but she's wounded, okay? All right?
That round. She suffered a gunshot wound, but she was still able to get all of her students out of that classroom. From the video surveillance we have of the hallway, you can see the students running out of that classroom across the hall into, and I'm estimating about 17 to 20 students out of that classroom across all into other classrooms. Mrs. Werner was the last person to leave that class. She made a right turn and started down the hallway, and then she stopped. She turned around. She turned around to make sure that every one of those students was safe. She made her way down to the administration office, where we later find out that she was given first aid as dispatchers talked to individuals who had made phone calls, and they took care of her through communications until the paramedics got with her.
She was the real hero in the whole situation. She got shot while she was wounded, and this 6-year-old still was, had the gun, but was probably so, shocked by the sound and how the gun reacted in his hand, probably jumped out of his hand after he shot it, because it's a 6-year-old child. It's probably his first time ever, shooting a gun. So the gun probably hopped out of his hand anyway, and he was stunned to death, or they don't show the child. But the teacher made sure that the children were out of the room with a gunshot wound in her hand and in her chest. So the teacher is the real hero here. You know, she was the one that was shot. She was the one that was there. She was the one that sent staff in, you know, anyway, they were coming anyway, but she made sure that staff got in to disarm the child and hold the child until the police got there. So the staff and the teacher are the real heroes here. And I don't understand how you're a hero when your job is to protect and serve. I don't understand how you're a hero because of the way you escorted children to the gymnasium from, you know, their classrooms through the hallway. I'm not understanding how that makes you a hero after everything is over with. You came after the fact, then you put the child in the car. I mean, everything's over with when you get there. But just because you escorted some children to a gymnasium, you're a hero. According to him, according to the cop. According to the cop, according to the police, they're heroes. Not the people that actually, you know, took care of the situation. Yeah. This is why, you know, I don't watch their TV and listen to them, because they will twist things to make it look like they're so good. And in reality, they're evil. They're the most evil, deceitful, heartless. I mean, these people, they are the devil in the flesh. They are the devil. Every one of these people who are pretending that what's going on, you know, is right. You are evil. You're pretending what's going on is right, and it is totally wrong. And the police are genocidal maniacs. Politicians are evil, deceitful, treasonous maniacs. Understand that. All of these corporate CEOs that use the First Amendment to deceive and lie and commit genocide are evil. Understand, they're not heroes. Not by a long shot. They are evil. They are the devil in the flesh.